Hi, I'm Diamond. Not Diamond like the jewel or Diamond like Lisa Ray in Players Club. Diamond like Diane Diamond, the journalist from the 1990s show Hard Copy. A woman who spent her career chasing stories nobody else was telling. I didn't know it then, but that name was going to be the blueprint for the rest of my life. I was born December 24th, 1997 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Although you never hear me say I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I was born there. I have a little brother named Duran who was born in 2001, and shortly after his birth, my parents decided to move back to New Orleans, which I feel was the best choice they've ever made. Then, August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina came and swept my city away. I was only 7 years old, a second grader who couldn't put words to what exactly was going on. I didn't understand the severity at that time. All I knew is that my world had just been flipped upside down overnight. It was the first time I ever heard my mother cry, the longest stretch I'd ever been separated away from my dad. Katrina truly just uprooted everything I had ever known and forced me and my family to pivot. Without a choice, without a real warning, and without a full understanding of how much my life was about to change from here on out. After Katrina, my family decided to relocate to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and never left. I missed New Orleans and Louisiana so bad that when it was time for me to go to college, I had to go back. First, I started off at Xavier in New Orleans, and then I went to Lafayette after I fell out of love with sports broadcasting. During my time at UL, I fell in love with filmmaking. I graduated in May 2020, and then, the world shut down. The pandemic took over everything I had mapped out and folded it right up. I had to survive, so I became a math teacher. For 6 years, I stood in a classroom and showed up for other people's futures while quietly putting mine on hold. It pulled me into one of the deepest depressions of my life. I wasn't creating anything. I wasn't thinking about creating anything. I was watching stories unfold on screen with no outlet for the ones living inside of me. So then one day it hit me. Build one. I started a podcast called The End Show Podcast, where I talk about film and TV every single week. Well, I tried to. Because if I didn't make the stories yet, I was going to talk about them until I could. And I'll watch anything. Cartoon, horror, reality TV, documentaries. If it exists, I've probably seen it, or it's on my watch list. Skins UK, Degrassi, Death Note, Powerpuff Girls, Glee, Empire, Star. There is so much world to see, and film and TV has always been my passport to it. If you ask me, have you seen this? There's a 96% chance the answer is yes. I watch things so I can turn around and tell everybody else to go watch them too. What I want to make is the story that gets looked over. The weird, niche, uncomfortable tale that doesn't fit the mold. I'd rather spark a heated conversation than make something forgettable. I don't want to tell the typical black stories that the industry keeps greenlighting. I want to tell the ones we've been afraid to tell. Black vampires, black dystopia, the supernatural filtered through a black lens. New Orleans is a city where the supernatural isn't folklore, it's culture. Voodoo, spirits, mystery, it lives in the streets. Growing up in that world planted something in me that I carry into everything I create. So, does my identity connect to my art? Not in the way you'd expect. Katrina didn't write my screenplays. My depression didn't direct my films. But it did create the End Show podcast, and that matters. Because Diane Diamond spent her career reporting on the stories the world needed to hear, turns out so do I. She reported stories, I report on stories. And very soon, I'll be making them.